Amber, our first 4-star character we get in the game. A girl who we easily recognize by her red bunny ears and that cheerful smile. Amber is an outrider for the Knights of Favonius, in an age where outriders are becoming obsolete. She continues on with her responsibilities, and it takes a newcomer like you only a few days to feel right at home with this passionate girl. Whether it's before Good Hunter's signboard, the banks of Cider Lake, or the treetops at Windrise, one can find traces of this vigilant outrider in red anywhere. So, in today's class at Genshin Academy will be about Amber's lore, abilities, builds, and maybe a little bit more. So, if you do enjoy this video or find it useful, you can hit that like, subscribe, and maybe share this with your friends. It would help me out a lot. Let's get to it, shall we? Amber is a pyro marksman, as she can shoot her enemies from afar with either a standard arrows or pyro-infused arrows, if you hold her aim for a certain amount of time. Her skill is the Baron Bunny, where she can throw the bunny to her or away from enemies, and once thrown, Baron will start playing music and start dancing as to mock their foes? Somehow it works, every time. Anyways, the Baron will detonate in 9 seconds when it starts dancing. Could you stop that, please? Her burst is when she shoots into the sky, sending down a fiery rain upon her foes, dealing continuous AoE pyro damage for 3 seconds. Now onto her passive abilities. Her first one increases crit rate of fire rain by 10% and widens its AoE by 30. Her second one is the precise shot, and it lets aimed shot hits on weak spots increase attack by 15% for 10 seconds. The third one is that she can decrease the gliding stamina consumption of your party by 20%. Now, this segment of the class is finished. Now we can move on to our builds that you could try on. To my knowledge, there are 3 builds that are very compatible with Amber. The Burst Sub DPS, the Pyro Burst Support, and the main DPS. The Burst Sub DPS has Elegy for the End as the main weapon, but for free-to-play players, it's Favonius Warbow, the Streamless or Fading Twilight. The artifacts is 4-piece Emblem of Severed Fate, but the main stats are Sans Attack, Goblet, Pyro Damage Bonus, Circlet, Crit Rate or Crit Damage, with the substats being Energy Recharge, Attack Percentage, Crit Rate, or Crit Damage. The Pyro Burst DPS has Elegy for the End as the main weapon, but for free-to-play players, it's Favonius Warbow. The artifacts is 4-piece Noblesse. The main stats are Sans Energy Recharge or Attack Percentage, Goblet Pyro Damage Bonus, Circlet Crit Rate or Crit Damage with the substats being Energy Recharge, Attack, Crit Rate, Crit Damage. The main DPS has Rust as the main weapon, so it's free to play safe. The artifacts are 2 Glad with 2 Blood or 2 Blood with 2 Pale, with the main stats being Attack Percentage, Goblet, Physical Damage, Bonus, Crit Rate or Crit Damage. And you could choose whatever substats you want to add to that. Amber's Constellation is Lepus, and it's in the shape of a bunny. Now, the first star is called One Arrow to Rule Them All, and it fires 2 arrows per aimed shot, and the second arrow deals 20% of the first arrow's damage. The second star is Bunny triggered, and it gives you a new and improved Baron. Upon hitting Baron's Bunny's foot with a fully charged aim shot, manually detonates it. And with explosion via manual detonation, it will deal 200% damage, which is not very good unless you're a pyro DPS. The third star is called It Burns, and it increases the level of Fire Rain by 3. The fourth star is called It's Not Just Any Doll, and it decreases Explosive Puppet's cooldown by 20%, and it also adds 1 additional charge, making you able to throw 2 Barons instead of 1. The fifth star is called It's Baron Bunny, and it increases the level of Explosive Puppet by 3. The final star is called Wildfire. Her Fire Rain Burst increased the entire party's movement and attack by 15% for 10 seconds. It's alright to C6 her if you somehow get all the constellations for her, as since she is your first character, it is going to be harder, because she's practically more rarer than the limited banners. So, good luck. And since that's over with, we can go straight to the lore. Amber's grandfather was set in Liyue as a mercenary. He guards the trading routes and take on other mercenary jobs he can find. On one fateful day, he was attacked by monsters. As he was expecting just to fight mere humans, more like bandits or treasure hoarders or thieves, he never expected monsters to show up and kill everyone. Amber's grandfather was the only sole survivor. He only survived because a Knight of Favonius doctor was nearby. The grandfather felt in debt to the doctor. So, as to repay the favor, grandfather went to Mondstadt with the doctor. Once he reached Mondstadt, he decided to train the Outriders, to make them best of the best there are in the Knights of Favonius, making them the best division in the whole Knights. A few years later, the grandfather decided to settle down a while ago, make a family. Now, we have no idea where Amber's parents are, but all we know now is that the grandfather, maybe, perhaps, named Amber after the amber rock formations in Liyue, or that amber-looking color in her eyes. Amber was such an energetic child. She would run all over the place and be so cheerful, but with this kind of energy, she would be the troublemaker, setting fire to dendro slimes, dropping bird's nest on her grandfather's head, and some other stuff. Somehow, she keeps on escaping the Outriders, even though they send the best of the best to catch her, to make her pay for the stuff she'd done. They always get outsmarted or outpaced by this little child. Wow, the best of the best Outriders got fucking owned by a child. Pathetic! So, now, they thought to themselves, if they couldn't catch Amber, they might as well charge the grandfather. So, the grandfather has to pay all the damages that Amber has done. But, in his heart, he always still loved her. Amber would often hide in the Knights of Favonius meeting room, just to surprise her grandfather here and there. But, we'll leave that part for later, as it's very important to someone else I'm gonna do later. After a few years gone by, suddenly, Amber's grandfather vanished without a trace. He didn't steal anything, he didn't take anything, he didn't leave anything. He just vanished without a trace. With rumors going around saying that he stole some documents or he fell to the enemy, more like switching teams, I should say. Sorry. The Outriders decided to leave one by one, as their reputation was being damaged slowly. Until then, there was no Outrider left. Until a few more years later, Amber would pick up the Outrider title, taking any task the Knights of Favonius can give her, always trying to bring the reputation back, always taking tasks that seems a little bit hard for her, just to prove herself and her superiors. I'm going to guess a few months later, Amber has found her childhood book. I believe it was called Wind, Courage, and Wings. It was about a story about two birds who couldn't fly. So they asked the animal god, how can they fly? The animal god said that you are lacking one important thing. As the animal god spoke, the wind has increased, making them think, we need a stronger wind to fly. So, the two birds went to the gorge with the high winds, leaped off, and they flew. With the high winds, they were taking them to the skies above the clouds. So they flew to the animal god and said, that's it, we only needed a stronger wind to fly. The animal god said, you never needed a stronger wind to fly. The only thing you were lacking of was courage. When Amber was done reading with that book, she was inspired, very inspired, so inspired that she grew a passion for courage. Thus, a glowing red crystal appeared on her hip. I believe, a few months, or maybe 2 years, or 1 year, earlier before our arrival, she had to take care of someone. But since that other someone is a main character to a manga, I can't really disclose that yet. So, that's pretty much it for now. Oh, finally, that was over. Okay, so if I miss anything or screwed up the builds, which is kinda like a normal thing here, please comment down below whatever I am missing or screwed up, as this video will take criticism, so I can make the videos a little bit better for your eyes to see. I believe that's all. So, if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share this with your friends. It would help me out a lot. I do have a Discord server open, so if you feel like joining that, you can help me out with some lore that I'm working on the other characters. And you're free to leave whenever you want. So, that's pretty much it. I'll see you next week, or see you whenever, as I stream regularly on the weekends. So, see ya.